Hey, welcome back to our second episode of Nobody Asked for This with your hosts Keaton and Brandon. And we have a whole plethora of topics to cover, and it will be all over the board because you didn't ask for it.
Like a Monopoly board.
Yeah.
Just all over. You got the car over there, you got the train over there, and the...
Pass-go.
The what?
Pass-go.
Pass-go.
Yeah, you pass-go.
Oh,
you collect 200.
pass-go. I was naming pieces of a board.
Oh, well.
Like your little people.
Oh, Broadway.
No! I said you got the car, the train, the dog.
The shoe.
The shoe.
The hat, the top hat.
Now you sound a little bit more intelligent than you did a second.
I don't know. Listen, I space out.
That was awesome.
I was in
Broadway.
a different dimension.
What is it? The Boardwalk. Is that the most expensive property?
I think
Boardwalk?
So. It is.
Boardwalk
Yeah, it is.
and Park Place.
Park Place,
right?
yes.
Yes, I was always going for those suckers.
And that goes us straight into our topic. We can go right into it.
What
we'll go
topic is
backwards
that?
on our topics. Would you rather is the new segment that we are doing. And this topic for this episode is going to be, if you could live in any board games, universe, or world, which one would it be? And I'm asking Keaton first.
Oh,
Did you plan for this?
Yeah.
Okay,
I kind of thought through. I could not think of one that sounded appealing to me at all because, like, apples to apples. I don't want to do that. I don't want to live in the game of life. I'm already doing that. But what I thought of was kind of outside of the box, and few people will know, but it's called Warhammer 40K. Have you heard of it though at all?
I have heard of it.
So it's a tabletop miniatures game. So you buy all the pieces, you paint them. It's lame and nerdy, and then you play. You play out battles. And there's all these factions. There's all this lore. There's a video game. There's comics. There's books. Huge world in this game. But the reason that I thought, I was like, that's my thing, and it's way nerdier than I'm gonna live in I'm gonna live in Monopoly, whatever. Because I would love to be a space soldier. They're in huge armor. Think of kind of like Halo. They're in like this big armor, and they're just blasting all these creatures. And I was like, that is the board game I want to be in. Is the one where I just get to shoot all of these space creatures.
See, I will raise you 10 on that. I would hate to be in the board game Risk. I'm in constant war. I'm constantly hungry. I'm constantly marching, and I don't know if the dice are going to be in my favor, and if I'm going to die.
And you have no control over it, right?
No control.
No control.
I do not want to live in Risk or access to allies or those types of games. You brought it up earlier. I would absolutely not want to live in the game of Sorry. I would constantly be going backwards in my life and be miserable.
You finally make it home or on the path to home, and then you just get knocked out.
Just get destroyed.
And the person goes, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would find a way to get out of that game immediately.
Risk, though, like that is a thought. If you're a piece of the board and you're fighting and then you die and then you get put back in the box.
Yeah, you recycled.
And then you can take it back out, and then what do you win, you lose? It's just this emotional turmoil of maybe I'm going to win, maybe I'm going to lose. I just saw my whatever, our cannon got blew up, and that would suck.
And you would never have any ties to loyalty. You're always on the other person's side, or you're switching sides. It would be horrible. You'd be constantly just living two different lives. I would not want to do it. Monopoly would also be awful. I would be bankrupt at all times, living in jail, and having no financial security at all. So the one I would want to live in would probably be like something safe, like Candyland.
Candyland. There's no winners or losers. Everybody's a winner.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I can live in paradise and have all the diabetes I would need to have.
Candyland. That's funny.
Candyland would be pretty baller.
Monopoly, you could get better on your skills though. True. Oh, I guess that's if you're the player. You're not living in the land.
Yeah, if I'm the shoe or if I'm that race car. Who knows who's going to
You'd probably want to be the race car, right?
Yeah. I feel like successful people would probably take the race car.
Yeah. I was always the battleship. I was always the battleship. Mm-hmm. There was one in the set that I played with my grandma. I was the battleship. Do you have a Monopoly piece that you timed to go for?
It was the top hat usually.
The top.
Yeah.
I was going to say the top hat. That's so lame.
I thought it was cool. I liked it. I like
Abraham Lincoln. You want to be Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president of the United States of America.
Well,
why do you want to be Abraham Lincoln?
I don't want to be that guy.
Brandon,
I know what happens
Brandon,
to him.
why do you want to be Abraham Lincoln? What draws you to him?
Nothing, because I hate the state of Kentucky.
Is that where he's from?
Yeah, he's from Kentucky, and I know what happens to him in the end, which is pretty rough. But I mean, he was arguably a genius, and he was a good lawyer. I learned all this because when I was in 6th grade, I went to Springfield, Illinois, for a field trip.
Springfield, Missouri?
No, Illinois.
Illinois.
It's the capital of Illinois.
Oh, I got you.
That's where
Is it really?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay.
And that's where he worked before he became president. I went to his house.
As
How do we get on the topic of Abraham Lincoln? Where are we at?
That was one of those rabbit trails we talked about last episode.
I had to take the steering wheel back on that one really fast.
Anyways, board games. Think about that. What board game world would you like to live in?
Comment below.
Comment below. But hey, I wanted to set the record straight because last episode I could not think of this guy's name, and his name he was in Eternals. He was in The Big Sick. It's Kumail Nanjiani. I think in the last episode I said, is it Nanjiani? I could not think of it, and then I looked it up with my dad the other night because I was so mad I could not think of that name because I always know his name. I watched some of his stand-up. He was good in The Big Sick, and then he was in the Eternals. He had this crazy, my wife Dory, she was like, oh, did you talk about how Buffy is? Because he had this, crazy body transformation to get ready for the Marvel movie Eternals that we kind of mentioned a little bit. But it was Kumail Nanjiani, if you were really worried about it from the last episode. I legitimately was upset that why could I not think of this guy's name? And I think it was because I couldn't get Kareem out of my head. Kareem Jean-Pierre, just the White House press secretary. I could not get Kareem out of my head, but it's Kumail Nanjiani, and that was that. To kind of segue into the topic that we were going to discuss a little bit, and we're not always going to talk about nerdy stuff, but and we talked a little bit about Marvel last time, but we were going to discuss, was Marvel wrong to end Endgame how they did, and bridged into the phases that are we in phase 5 for MCU? It's 4 or 5. It doesn't matter because all of it's garbage. I think that we're in phase 5 now though. But how they killed off Iron Man.
Yep.
They basically killed off Captain America.
Yeah.
Thor took a totally different route. They killed off Black Widow. And then right after Endgame, they basically killed off Vision. Or I guess
I'm
in
okay
Infinity War they killed Vision.
I'm okay with that decision.
I don't like the white Vision though in WandaVision.
Oh.
How many times can you say Vision in a sentence?
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen WandaVision?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my gosh, you shouldn't be on a podcast.
Listen, I heard bad things about it. So
I really liked
WandaVision.
WandaVision.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I didn't like how it ended, but I liked it overall.
Is it like something I should see, you think?
Yeah, have you seen the new Doctor Strange movie?
Yeah.
Well,
we watched it together.
Oh, and did you understand any of Wanda's stuff?
Yeah. Pretty much.
How? I
just kind of put 2 and 2 together because they kind of explained it. They said she went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah.
And then he went to
cuckoo for Vision Puffs.
Yeah.
She really wanted Vision.
She went to that place where he found her with all the apple orchard.
Yeah.
And I kind of just figured she did something wrong.
Yeah.
And there they were.
Oh, what's kind of neat? We talked about last episode how Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel, he said that anything... or all of those Netflix Marvel shows are not canon anymore, and one of those was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I really liked. The book that Wanda has in the new Doctor Strange movie is called The Darkhold, and there's like a whole season about that of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And so that was kind of weird because you have all of this backstory of that book in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then they bring it into the movie, but then he's like, oh, no, that's canon anymore. So that was kind of cool for me to see in the theaters, but now it's like, it doesn't matter.
You think the reason they decided to ruin that canon is because they want to go back and change things?
Change stuff? Yeah, I don't know. I
Is
don't
that
know
the
what
reason
they
why
would... Well,
validated it?
Daredevil for sure, because Daredevil, has 3 seasons on Netflix, and then now they are making I don't know if you want to call it a new season or a new show of Charlie Cox as Daredevil. But Kingpin, which was one of his main villains, was kind of a different character in the Hawkeye TV show.
Oh yeah,
he just didn't seem like the same character, but played by Vincent Don, however you say his last name.
He did a great job.
Really great. But maybe that's why they're getting rid of it, because they want to take Charlie Cox as Daredevil, and then Vincent as Kingpin in a different direction. That would be the only thing that makes sense to me, because none of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff, I think that they'd go back and retcon.
Yeah, well, it was a lot darker of a TV show. They had a
Daredevil,
lot more gravity and different type of topics that were more about the human condition compared to these new TV shows, which are kind of more happy-go-lucky.
Yeah.
So I could see why they might have downplayed his character.
Thor, Ragnarok, and Love and Thunder to a point.
Well, I mean, the bad guy in Love and Thunder was really good.
Gruesome.
Yeah.
And I guess they cut out a ton of stuff that would have made him a lot more, fleshed out his character a lot more, but also made him a lot more gruesome and gory and evil. Which, that was one thing from that movie, from Love and Thunder, that I thought we were missing a little bit, was some more development with Christian Bale's character. I don't remember what he was called. God Killer, or he was the God Killer. But that was something I was like, I wish we kind of would have seen him a little more, because it seemed like he'd always show up and for like a couple seconds, and then he was kind of gone, and there wasn't a ton of explanation or whatever. But that was a rabbit trail also.
It was a planned rabbit trail.
Was it a planned rabbit trail?
It's that's what we have on the
on our cue sheet.
Yeah.
But was Marvel wrong to end it like that? Right? Because we lost Iron Man, we lost Captain America.
All the originals are pretty much done for.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So of the originals, Iron Man's dead, Captain America's dead, Black Widow's dead. I think Hawkeye's like kind of retired. And then who else we have? Hulk is just kind of gone. Right. Who do we have besides? Who am I missing? Thor. He's still active. And Chris Hemsworth said he would do another movie, I think, if Taika Waititi directed it, and it went to a new direction of Thor. I think that I was picking up from stuff that he didn't love how crazy and happy and kind of goofy he was, you know? But yeah, I mean, there's no main characters holding us to it, and I think that's my problem. Is like it's just a bunch of these B or C level characters that I don't have a ton of investment in. You know.
Well, who would take up the mantle? I guess you got Captain Marvel, which doesn't do well in the theaters.
Yeah. Her first movie was good, but like everything
doing a lot
since
with what I forgot his name completely.
There's Falcon, and then War Machine.
Samuel Jackson's character.
Yeah, Nick Fury.
Yeah, Nick Fury. They're doing a lot with him.
Yeah, but I haven't finished Secret Invasion.
We tried to watch it. And then
that first episode was horrible. I think I tried to watch. I think I watched 2 or 3 more episodes, like the second or the third episode. But then I was just bored.
There's no backstory. It's like, this is what's happening. No,
it just kind of throws you in. Yeah. And then one thing that really upset me, Maria Hill. She's Nick Fury's kind of secondhand lady. They kill her in like the first or second episode, and that kind of upset me because I thought I've always kind of liked her as a character, and originally Secret Invasion, she was supposed to be a main character in it, and then they sidelined her, and so I was just like, crap, like that sucks, basically. But Marvel is just I'm not emotionally attached to the characters that are currently in the movies. I'm not attached to Thor, his new personality, whereas I liked Thor before.
Well, we kind of grew up with those characters.
Oh, we totally did, right?
Yeah, now we're older and don't really care about the new ones.
I don't know when Iron Man came out.
2008.
8? Okay, so I was 9, right? Yeah. I was a kid. We were both kids.
Yeah.
And then Endgame was out when I was a freshman or sophomore, freshman in college. So we saw those whole cast of people grow up, and then we have all these characters that aren't fleshed out or built up as much. Yeah. Right? I don't know.
I mean, you think about it, if you can cross it over to the Star Wars angle of things, we grew up with a lot of the characters in Star Wars, and we're also invested in the new ones they've made. So it's got to be a writing error or some type of, back house issue they're having with the storylines that isn't picking up.
If kids younger than us are engaged in the Marvel stuff right now. Like, are they invested in it? Are they watching it on Disney Plus? Are they,
I don't know.
But also, some of the Marvel stuff is not as kid-friendly as it maybe originally was. Like, Iron Man was totally cool for kids. Thor was. Captain America was.
Yeah.
Whereas, Loki is a little bit more adult. Not because of anything that would make it like for a mature audience, but it isn't, I don't think, geared towards kids.
Yeah,
you know, right?
You got to use some more brain cells on Loki than you would have to other types.
And in
of shows.
WandaVision, it's pretty emotional. Secret Invasion definitely isn't geared towards kids, but yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of, who knows if they're going in the right direction. I would say that their stockholders don't think they are because they're not doing as hot as they once were. But yeah. Moving to the next thing, though. Secret Invasion is like kind of a political show.
Yes.
And so we're going to dive into our first political topic of our show. Nobody asked for this, and nobody asked for us to talk about this.
Nope.
But, Brandon, why don't you explain what a false flag is? Because I didn't totally know what it was until you said that maybe we should talk about it. So why don't you share what a false flag is to our many viewers?
Yeah, so essentially what a false flag is when a country does some type of economical or militaristic...
Economical
is a word.
Economical.
Yeah, they do something against another country under the pretense it was an enemy's country doing it. So imagine if, you took someone's possession, but you said someone else did it. So that way you can cause a war, cause some type of proxy critical issue with someone else. Basically an excuse to invade somebody or cause more problems. You might see in the news or people are saying, these might be a false flag with Israel and, Pakistan or Palestine. Whoa, I almost caused an issue there.
We almost made it on CNN.
That one out. Yeah, so that's essentially what a false flag is when you attack a different country under a false pretense of a nation's name.
Yeah. So is there a spot that we're seeing that's like, or have seen it, that is confirmed that we know of, and it's in not history? Like less of a conspiracy, more of like, no, this happened, right?
I do believe in 1939 when Germany invaded Poland.
I read about that. Yeah.
German soldiers took over
it was a radio tower.
A radio tower as Polish soldiers, saying
on the German side,
that
right?
They took over that radio tower and was theirs, and it was an excuse for Germany to go into Poland. It was kind of like, we're going to do it anyway, even if this didn't work out or if someone...
But then they had legal reason, too, right?
Yeah,
so, they were attacked, I guess.
Poland, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a good example of a false flag issue. Nowadays, you're going to see it probably with more of maybe electronic warfare or psychological operations.
Well, one that we totally heard about a lot in 2020, whatever year we vote for the president was 2020, was, like Russia hacking into the polls.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was one where you could say, okay, was it Russia? Or whoever did it, are they trying to pin it on Russia? Right? Yeah. Not to get all conspiracy, but like...
Didn't they prove that it wasn't Russia, though? Like,
I don't know.
I mean, that thing's they've been having that court trial for the longest time.
But that's kind of... That came to my mind as like, maybe that was one... There's a lot of stuff that you could say, because you have both sides of the political aisle saying, well, these people are lying, those people are lying, and who is even telling the truth?
Well, who can you believe anymore?
That's something that that we'll talk about on our next episode, but that is something that I think about semi-frequently, probably more than I think about the Roman Empire. Did you see that thing going around a couple weeks ago?
It hurts my brain.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
So a couple weeks ago, there was this thing going around on TikTok or whatever that was like, men think about the Roman Empire like a lot more than you think, and people would be asked, guys would be asked, hey, it was Rome, right? Yeah. How often do you think about the Roman Empire? They'd say, I don't know, like once a week. And I was like, what? And I don't know, like once every 2 weeks or like every day. And I'm like, those answers are crazy. And they're just asking people on the street. Dory asked me, and I'm like, never. Like, I don't know if a video pops up on my YouTube feed, and I'm like, let me watch this YouTube video.
I think they put, like, guys that are thinking about it more than often are thinking aspects of the Roman Empire.
Yeah.
Maybe when, gladiators or, combat or that way of life they're probably thinking of. I don't really think about it that much.
No.
You'll have the thought that pops in your head, if I lived in the Roman Empire, what would I be doing?
I'm a gladiator. I'd be a gladiator.
You'd be a slave then.
I know.
Fighting for your life.
Yeah, I mean, that's something you could deep dive into, is that the gladiatorship was not great. Not a fun time.
No, I don't think so. I mean, your life was on the line. And you also fought lions and tigers and bears.
Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my!
And then they would have like aquatic.
I know
battles.
they fill it with water. Yeah, that's crazy to think about. And then here we are. We're just playing football and baseball. What are we doing? But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy because now you look at the news and these people are saying that. The other people are saying that these people are lying. They're both saying that each other are lying. Who's telling the truth?
Yeah.
Right? Everything's
so polarized.
Yes. You have to believe this side, and if you believe this side, you are against them. Mm-hmm. There's no, you're not allowed to be in the middle. Everybody's just against each other and down each other's throats. And I don't think it totally used to be like that,
No. I remember being a kid and my parents would be having a adult disagreement with their friends, and they were on different aisles of the political party, and they'd be friends. They'd still be friends.
Yeah, right.
They'd be respectful.
Yeah, now you have people that cannot interact, with each other if they believe differently on certain things.
It's a shame.
Yeah, it's crazy. But again, politics, Hunger Games.
Hunger Games
coming out.
That
right?
goes into these segues are insane on this episode.
Have you ever watched Brett Cooper? You know who she is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She is the
Daily
most
Wire?
perfect introductions to her ads, her sponsors. Maybe if I'm really, really good at editing, I might throw one of her segments up.
I haven't
just
seen
like a 10-second thing. But she is talking about X, Y, and Z and how you need to take care of yourself. And then she goes in, and she says, like, that I wouldn't do anything for my dogs, or I would do everything for my dogs. And that brings us to our sponsor, and it's this dog food. And she just puts them together perfectly.
Well, if we ever get sponsors, we're going to have to top that.
We're going to have to call us.
Yeah.
But anyways, new Hunger Games coming out, and it's a prequel. And you said you didn't know a ton about it, but
I do not.
Read all the Hunger Games. I've seen them. I think they're good movies. I think they're good books. And is it her name Suzanne Collins? I think is who wrote them. Yeah. But she wrote a prequel, and they're coming out with it really soon. I think like in a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. 6 weeks, who knows?
Another original idea,
yeah. But it's going to be a prequel, and it's the 10th annual Hunger Games.
Okay.
And it follows Coriolanus Snow, which is the president during the main Hunger Games books, movies. And then it follows this girl from District 12, and she's going I think she's reaped to be in the 10th Hunger Games, and it's the first Hunger Games that they're going to make a spectacle out of it. Because I guess before that, they were just kind of taking these people, reaping them, driving them on the train to the place, dropping them in a building, and they'd all be dead in 2 minutes.
That's no fun.
Yeah, what is
I want to get my money's worth out of this.
I want to watch this sucker. So now they're they get their mentor. They try to. I don't know how deep it goes. I don't know if it's like the sponsor thing and the television and all that. But I know that they're trying to make a spectacle of it. I haven't read it, but I am really interested to watch it because I thought the books were great. I thought the movies were pretty good. Besides, the third one shouldn't have been 2 parts.
That's how you make more money. Cash cow. How many the last movies of any type of series have been 2 parts?
Yeah.
Harry
Infinity War,
Potter's been 2
Endgame.
parts. Infinity War's been 2 parts.
Mm-hmm.
Hobbit's been 2 parts.
Mission Impossible has been 14 parts.
Yeah, 14 parts.
The Hobbit, yes, that should not have been 2 parts. Yeah. That's
how you make money.
Yeah. And what's crazy is the Fellowship of the Ring, to get on just a different rabbit trail. Fellowship of the Ring was a single movie.
Yeah.
2 Towers, Return of the King, all single movies.
Yep.
The Hobbit, if you look at the size of them, they're all very comparable. It's not like the Hobbit's this big and the other ones are this big. But they made it into 4 movies.
1 book into 4 movies.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And so that's, I liked the first Hobbit. I think I liked the second one. The third one, the part 1 and 2, I was like, what is going on?
Well, the third movie was just a giant fight. And then,
yes.
It wasn't that good. And if you think about it, Return of the King, I've read all 3 of those books, and it's the biggest one of all the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
And then The Hobbit's just 4 movies, and the smallest book of Tolkien's works, which goes to show nothing's original anymore.
Nothing's original. We got to expand it. We got to draw it out. We got to get all the bucks we can. But if you ever want to waste 16 hours of your life, or I guess it'd be 4, 8, 12 hours, not waste, but spend a good 12 hours of your life. Watch the director's cut of Fellowship Return, and then Two Towers in the middle. Because those suckers, Dory and I just watched them recently, and that's a time investment, that's an emotional investment, and you see why they cut some stuff. There's this conversation between Gandalf and Saruman, and Saruman's on the top of his tower, and Gandalf's at the bottom, and they're literally, Gandalf is yelling at him, like, Saruman! And then Saruman's at the top, and I guess he's got this thing where he can project his voice, and so he's just talking normal. Gandalf, da-da-da-da-da. And then Gandalf's at the bottom, Saruman, come down! Just yelling as loud as he can, and Saruman's just like, hey, Gandalf, how are you? Yeah. But they can hear each other down there, and it was just so awkward. Like, in the book, I don't think, if I'm reading that, I would think so much of it, like, oh, Saruman has this thing he's just projecting down to Gandalf. But the movie was very awkward doing that, and then in the original they just cut the whole thing. Like, that was not included. But if you want to spend 12 hours of your life, just watch all of the movies in the director's cut. But I think that they're on it's HBO or Paramount. One of the two has them, I think. Might be Peacock. Is it Peacock?
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
I thought it was Amazon Prime. That's why I watched director's cut on. But they might have moved them.
Yeah.
They're always buying different movies.
We watched them on something that we didn't have to, like, rent, and I don't think it was Amazon.
Comment below what they're on.
Let us know what they're on. So nothing original.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The topic we were on before we got into all of this was
Hunger Games. We didn't talk about Hunger Games very much. It's not as interesting as Lord of the Rings and all of that.
I recently watched all of those probably this year, and it's pretty good still.
Watch Hunger Games?
Yeah.
It's
pretty good still. It holds up really well.
We started watching, this is a shout out to Emma Lennington for not finishing the series with me, but we watched the first one, we watched the second one, we watched part 1 of Mockingjay, Mockingjay, and then still haven't watched part 2 of Mockingjay, and every time I'm like, I'm going to watch it by myself, they say, no, don't watch it without me. And so, we watched all of them but the second part. But good movies.
They are good
Crazy
movies.
world to think of where, like, the world went into war.
Dystopia.
I
like dystopian movies.
I do too. I really like dystopian
Gattaca
worlds.
That's a really
good
dystopian movie.
City of Ember. Have you watched or read that? Yeah, City of Ember is really interesting. The Giver.
Mm-hmm.
The Giver.
That's a really, really good movie.
Yeah. You didn't read the book?
Ender's Game.
Ender's Game is so good.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah, Ender's Game. I read the book after I watched the movie. That's an exceptional book. They have, like, a lot of them, though.
Mm-hmm.
Thinkers. 1989.
By George Orwell. It's a popular book. They made them.
Oh, is that the one about the concrete jungles or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dystopian future as well. It's kind of ironic
Fahrenheit
because
451.
all these dystopian movies and books you're reading.
We have aspects of those in our life.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say.
So Fahrenheit 451.
They burn all the books.
The books. Like, we're not allowed to read certain books anymore. Like anything of media control that we see in those dystopians, like those maybe don't happen as much in the United States, but definitely in other countries do. Yeah. And it sucks. Like, but it kind of makes you think. I'm like, oh, those things are happening today.
Yeah.
Who knows? Which one we will align more closely with? I don't know.
Yeah, we went through so many hoops.
There was a lot of emotion in this episode. But hey, thank you for joining in to Nobody Asked for This. I'm Keaton.
I'm Brandon.
And we just talk about stuff that you didn't ask us to talk about and you might not even care about. But we appreciate you watching. And so we will see you on the next episode.
Episode 3.
Third time's a charm.
Yes.
So
if we haven't gotten it yet. We're going to get it then.
We'll get it on the next episode. All right, thanks. See ya.